understand the budgeting process. It is a process. To do what we want to do, we're going to have to work closely with the administration to identify all the priority items in the budget. And keep in mind that this all starts from a zero base. We start with zero. And when companies do that, they usually find areas where they're spending money that they shouldn't have been spending, or they spend less. We're going to look at healthcare savings costs if we can, do that. For instance, a lot of companies now are encouraging people who have a spouse who has coverage with their employer to go and get their coverage from their other employer. And there are employers that are probably doing that to the school system. They're saying, your spouse, if your wife's a teacher, she has coverage at Westerville schools, she has a family plan, we'll give you $1,000 a year or $2,000 a year if you go on your wife's coverage. And we're allowing that. We should have incentives so that can't happen, that we encourage families who have coverage with a spouse somewhere else, that they get that coverage there, and that'll reduce our overall health costs without affecting the coverage for the employees. They get the same health benefits, and their spouses will get benefits only with their employer. Things like that. It's a process that you have to look through item by item, working with the administration and the treasurer to get this done. It's not something where we can just say, well, these are our numbers, we're plugging them in, we know we can save $40 million. We don't know that, but it's a process getting there. And I think we can get there by working hard and asking tough questions. For instance, I have an example here. In the appropriations meeting they had on June 18th, 2012, they appropriated $151 million for operating expenses for the last calendar year. But in there was a category called Other, which in most companies that's kind of like, we don't know what it is because we call it Other. And in 2012, they spent almost $3.2 million in that category. That's what their appropriation was. But they actually spent $6.9 million. That's a 118% increase, and nobody on the board asked any questions at all. That may have been a good number or a bad number. But somebody should have asked questions. Well, why do we go 100% over budget in this category? And then they appropriated another $1 million the next year, $7.9 million, with no question. So it's not that the numbers are good or bad at this. It's just that they didn't ask the key questions to find out why did we go so far over budget in that category. And that's the kind of things that need to be asked.